Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be using some powdered watercolours, which is a product which I've had for a while but I don't use very often because I don't tend to use water-soluble media very much in my journals. So I'm going in, I've spritzed my background with some water, and then I'm going in with my powdered watercolours. So you can see that they are very, very intense. A little bit of powder goes a long way, but they're fun to work with, and it's a really quick way to do a background. Now obviously I'm sure you can work out by my background colours when this page was completed and probably why, but yes, obviously the Ukraine, what's happening in the world, in Europe, is very much on my mind, has been since it's happened. And as many of you know, my art journal is the way I process things, big, small, personal, global, what's happening next week for dinner, like everything goes into my art journal. So this is my way of processing what was happening. The little silhouette that you can see there is from an Australian company called Scrap FX. Jill makes these amazing chipboards, but she also does these silhouettes because they are laser cut. They're incredibly fine, but they're just absolutely beautiful, and I love this geometric bird. It just really speaks to me, and I found it in my stash and it was just like, this is a perfect focal point for this page. So with my bird, because it's very fine, I'm going in now with some watercolors, using shades of blue up the top, using shades of yellows down the bottom to fill in some of those spaces and just get this geometric shape happening. The great thing about using the silhouette is that because it's obviously paperweight, it's got a little bit of border there. So by using my watercolors, I'm not a very careful watercolorist, so it actually keeps my watercolor contained where it's supposed to be instead of sort of bleeding out. So if you have a die cut machine or something like that that can do this, I'd highly suggest, if you struggle with watercoloring, cut a shape out and color within it and use the borders of the paper to as a little bit of a dam between your colors for you. So the chipboard shape that I've got there is a cut down piece from one of the Dina Wakley chipboards. It's already primed, which is really handy, so you can just watercolor over the top, which I really love. Once that's finished, I just want to put a little bit of splatter on it, so I'm using some, I don't know what I'm using. I'm using gloss sprays. There you go, it took me a while to work it out. I'm using some gloss sprays in the background. One of the reasons I'm using this is because I didn't want everything to auto activate again. So the gloss sprays are an acrylic based product, so they're permanent when they're dry. They're less likely to water activate than if I'd put, say, acrylic ink over the top or put some more watercolors over. I wanted to have that strong blue and yellow on my page that doesn't get soaked up into the background. So you've got this sort of bit of splatter happening across the page, which I really like. And splatter is a great unifying thing. It sort of helps tie everything together. Even though it looks completely random, it actually sort of really helps to tie things together. Once I finished, I decided I needed to put a little bit extra colour in the yellow. It wasn't quite yellow enough, so I actually used some fluid acrylic paint, I think, to add some extra colour. So it's either fluid acrylic paint or it is actually some of the gloss spray. I missed seeing the bottle it came out of. But just to give a little bit more opacity to the yellow in the bird, it was getting a little bit lost in the background, so I wanted to brighten it up somewhat. So when I'd done that, I really loved this page, but I wanted to put some words in it, and I could probably write an essay if I sat there and wrote it down, but I just wanted something that sort of summed up kind of how I was feeling on the day. And quite often when I do that, I go looking for a quote using a keyword. So obviously my keyword to search for was peace. And the quote was, "Peace cannot be kept by force, it can be only achieved by understanding," which I thought was really important in many different ways. And like, that quote is so appropriate for so many different phases of my life as well. You know, it just summed everything up. So when I'm writing down, I went in with my black paint pen. I did go in with my white paint pen to do a little bit of a drop shadow, but you can see me sort of having to take it off and prime it quite a lot, partly because my pen is half dead, but mostly because it's trying to write over a water soluble background. So what was happening was, it was obviously activating the watercolor underneath, and it was soaking up into the white. So I was sort of just getting, you can see it with the K there, my white turned blue, so it was sort of soaking it up. So I just gave up in the end and didn't put a white drop shadow on. Possibly if I went back later, I could put that in now once the watercolor was really, really dry, but to be honest, you can still read what was said. So when I did this, I went on to another page to do a similar thing, using the same colors, using the same techniques. You can see in the background that eye is actually a printable from Michelle Grant Creations, and I thought it was perfect. Sort of, we're only as blind as we want to be, and it really summed up again how I was feeling on the day. And both pages were done using the same technique, using the same powdered watercolors in the background. So if you've got some in your stash, I really encourage you to get them out and have a go. They're an amazing way to do a background. Just remember, obviously they're water soluble, so layers are more difficult to achieve, but it is possible if you are patient. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.